So the special feature in every Ask a CFO show is not so much a question and answer as a thought that I'd like to share with you. A thought designed to see if you can play with it. See if there's a possibility there that can unblock something that's been blocked. See if there can be a new possibility available for the change that you're working to create in the world, for the contribution that you're looking to be made in the world. And of course, all this comes through the lens of a CFO. And I am who I am, and I think the way that I think. And let that be in addition to all of the words and thoughts and people that you already have in your sphere. If this can enrich that somehow and open something up, I'd love to share this with you. So today's thought is this: what change are you committed to seeing in the world? The answer to this question is not always what your organizational output is. Ideally, it is. But maybe it is a mechanical change, whereas what you really want to see is some kind of a fundamental change. So, for example, let's say you lead a nonprofit that makes education available to people who wouldn't ordinarily have access to a particular type of education. You could say, what I'm committed to is making education available to people who wouldn't ordinarily have this type of education. Okay, I get that. But what's the change that you want to see in the world as a result of it? I might assert that you want to see every human being able to fulfill his or her potential as a human being. That is part of what becomes available to someone with certain types of education. And when you see a world in which there aren't any barriers between a person and that person living into his or her potential, then you'll die happy. Another example. So what change are you committed to seeing in the world? If you are committed to, if what your organization does and you think, well, what we do is we sell mugs. All right? We sell mugs. You can say, I'm committed to bring mugs to the world. I would say that that's not really an expression of who you are and what your commitment is as a human being. I might say that you're committed to the peace, bringing peace, that people have peace of mind when they drink hot beverages. That you are committed to people getting their messaging out, right? Yeah, so I had hot chocolate and hot apple cider today. So that's why I have 2 mugs by my desk. You're committed to helping organizations get their message out. And you do that with mugs. You're committed to creating peaceful and relaxing experiences when people sit back and drink hot beverages, and as such, you produce mugs. And when you see a world in which organizations can get their message out so they can change the world, then you'll die happy. Or when you know that people are relaxing and being in a better place, going into their highest and best, because they're relaxing with a hot beverage that you know is going to be safe thanks to your mugs, then you'll die happy. That's the kind of commitment that I'm talking about. And once you have the ability to speak about your true commitment, which may or may not be precisely what your organizational output is, then you'll touch hearts. And if you're in the nonprofit world, touching hearts also means inspiring more change, more action, donors, sponsors, people involved in programs, volunteers, candidates to join your team. If you're running a for-profit business, what happens when you touch people's hearts? A lot of the same things, only the vocabulary is different. I mean, you have candidates to join your team, right? You have profitability, you have sales. You have distribution channels and the funding for that. Being able to speak powerfully about your true commitment can actually be a vehicle towards helping you see that change, helping you create that change for which you've created or you're running your organization. Is that awesome? So with that in mind, I'd like to share with you the commitment that I have to the change that I'd like to see in the world. I want to see equity in the world. I don't want to see any artificial barriers between a person and I don't want to see any artificial barriers between a person and freedom. I want there to be a world in which a person succeeds or fails at anything on his or her own merit, or better said, on that person's own merit, not because of any artificial barriers that have been put up. Artificial barriers like racism, artificial barriers like ableism, artificial barriers like sexism, other artificial barriers. I mean, there's a list, because we human beings are really good at separating. That's an entire soapbox that I'll save for another time. But my commitment, the change that I'd really like to see in the world, and my commitment to making that happen, is to promote freedom and to remove artificial barriers. And that's why our company, and one way to talk about that is to encapsulate that in the term social justice. And that's why Tier 1 Services has such a commitment to social justice. We don't want to see any organization that's out there promoting social justice. We don't want to see them fail. We don't want to see them go out of business. We don't want to see them fold and go under. We want to see them operating strong. And although accounting doesn't change the world isn't going to be changed without accounting. So that's our commitment. So thank you so much for listening. I hope this has opened up something in your own leadership palette, in your own organizational palette. Let me know if this has opened up something for you. That would touch my heart.